I'm Motley Fool Canada Senior Analyst Nick Seipel, and this is the 5 Minute Major, here to make you a smarter investor in about 5 minutes. Mark Carney was just elected Prime Minister of Canada, and today we're discussing potential stock market winners from the new Liberal government. My guest today is Fool Canada Senior Investment Officer Iain Butler. Iain, thanks for joining me.
Great to be here, Nick. Can't hear the word 5 minute major without thinking of the NHL playoffs that are currently ongoing. It's a pretty important situation when that occurs, so we'll try to be as important today.
Yeah, hopefully we're not going to spend any time in the penalty box today. We'll see. Iain, after this election victory for Mark Carney, how do you expect the business environment in Canada to change?
Yeah, I mean, given we've just reelected the same party that's been in power for the past decade or so, I don't know that sweeping reform is something that anyone should be expecting. However, as everyone, I believe, knows, that we're in a situation that we haven't been in since, about the early 1800s. So I think of primary importance is that Carney hit the ground running on tamping down the simmering trade tariff war that we hear about every day or every hour of every day. Hopefully, there's some follow through on improving interprovincial trade. I think there's a big opportunity there for Canada to alter the landscape and forging new and strengthening existing trade agreements with non-American allies and partners, and all this, I think, while keeping our country together. There's been some diversion or division encouraged by our neighbors to the south, and I don't think certainly I don't want to see that go any further than it already has. Also, I mean, another important domestic matter, and maybe this has implications for the market, maybe it doesn't, but it certainly has social implications. Is just the matter of housing affordability. First-time buyers, especially, are being particularly excluded from the housing market, and we've got some strained relations, unfortunately, I think, with our western provinces, Alberta and Saskatchewan. Feel their resource wealth is being mismanaged and held down by an Eastern-dominated federal government. So he has come into a busy situation for sure. But I mean, these some of these matters have been simmering, others are brand new, and it's going to be fascinating to see how they work through the system.
And if you had to choose one potential winner from this election outcome and its impacts on the business environment, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I'm going to go with some low-hanging fruit on this one, and suggest that it's a company that Mr. Carney knows. It's a company that he knows best, frankly. The one that served as his last employer, and that is Brookfield Corporation. So Carney, again, last employed by Brookfield. He joined the Brookfield family back in August 2020, and throughout his tenure there, he was very much focused on steering the firm's policies around ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance, as well as impact investing. So really, those are important matters when it comes to the institutional clients that Brookfield tends to swim amongst, and it was Carney's job to make sure that Brookfield was well positioned on that front so that it could go to its institutional clients and say we're good. So I just think, and these are important matters. The Canadian government now that Carney stands atop of has a lot of capital to invest, and they of course want to invest that capital responsibly. And two entities, especially within the Brookfield empire, that come to mind are Brookfield Infrastructure and Brookfield Renewables. So Brookfield Infrastructure invests in the likes of utilities, transportation, think toll roads and the like, midstream energy, think pipelines, and data centers, while Brookfield Renewables owns a portfolio of renewable power generating facilities. And again, these are all things that the Canadian government is interested in, invests in itself. And now we've got a former Brookfield person on top of the Canadian government, and there's a connection there. I don't say this to be derogatory, that there's a conflict of interest of any kind. Brookfield is an entirely reputable enterprise, and it's going to be fine with or without this connection. But it does seem to be logical to think that there's a direct line now between the Brookfield empire and the top of the Canadian government.
Yeah, and if you think about the type of big infrastructure projects that you heard the candidates talk about on the campaign trail, those are the exact type of things that Brookfield is a master at both helping to build and hoping to manage once those projects are completed. So certainly in an environment, if there's going to be some big infrastructure spending in Canada, Brookfield will be there helping to facilitate it. Iain, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the 5 Minute Major.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick.